before we begin, I just wanted to describe, or not describe, but just name the artists who did cover art for volume 19.1. It's Anthony Papa, from formerly an ex-prisoner, formerly a prisoner, sorry, from New York State. The cover for volume 19.2 was produced by Daniel. Won't name his last name because he's a former torture victim, and that issue is on torture and political violence and imprisonment. And forthcoming volume 21 is an issue on women's imprisonment, and that image there is called Survivor by Jackie Travers. I think it's pretty illustrative of the message, or some of the messages the artists are trying to portray. So just to briefly explain what the Journal of Prisoners on Prisons is and where it came from. First ICOPA was held in Toronto in 1983. The second ICOPA was held in Amsterdam in 1985, and it was a very important conference for ICOPA, which was the International Conference on Prison Abolition at that time. This is the meeting where participants essentially recognize that in order to abolish the prison, you must also abolish the penal system. So this is where we see the transition from prison abolition to penal abolition within that particular conference movement. An issue with that conference, though recognized internally and critiqued externally as well, was the small number of prisoner voices and ex-prisoner voices that were represented at that meeting. So the organizers of ICOPA 3 in Montreal decided that it would be very important to have panels that featured the works of prisoners, and at that time we had, I guess you could say, more relaxed day parole and day pass laws in Canada that allowed some prisoners to actually present papers at that meeting or have their papers read by proxy by another conference participant. And from there, some of the papers that were presented were included in the first Journal of Prisoners on Prisons, published in 1988. Since that time, over 30 issues have been published, always with an academic press. The journal, essentially, its mandate is to connect debates taking place in academia to the realities of incarceration on the ground as experienced by prisoners. Most of the articles are written by prisoners or written by a prisoner and an outside collaborator. So that's basically the mandate of what we do. We are a non-profit journal, even though we're affiliated with an academic press. The University of Ottawa Press, who has generously allowed us to have mail for free, office space for free, and other services for free for us to be able to use, which is really important when you're doing this kind of work. Mail costs a lot of money, especially with the type of volume of correspondence that we do. So all the money that we receive from subscriptions and sales, university sales, goes back into the production of the next journal. And in the time that I've been co-managing editor for 3 years, we've never turned away someone who's asked for a free subscription when they are inside prisons. So we put all the money back that we get into publishing the journal and also distributing to those who are most concerned. Now, I don't want to take too much time because this is the panel for prisoner voices and ex-prisoner voices. But just in terms of issues that are currently in circulation right now, we have Pan America, Prison Writing, Punishment and Creative Resistance, Volume 19.1, edited by Belfast, formerly of SUNY. Here's some of the articles. I can send you the PowerPoint slides, and also the journals will be circulated around so you can look at the articles. Volume 19.2, Footprints to Freedom, Journeys of State-Driven Torture, Liberation, and Justice, written by former torture survivors, not former torture survivors, edited by Christine Jaudet, Maritza Felices Luna, both assistant professors at the University of Ottawa, and then forthcoming issue later this year, Criminalizing Women, Past and Present, edited by Jennifer Kilty, who gave a presentation here yesterday. So these are the papers that will be read today by Isaac, Rachel, Claire, and myself.